Playing EDC every day is like eating a small flight. Hi all, I'm Brother Hi. Today we will continue to bring you 15 EDC small discounts. The ranking from ramming to pulling. Let's first look at the first 1161 from the third purpose, which is an all-steel handle. Then there is the cutter head of 14C28N. A standard Japanese-style folded shape. The front is a shaved head. There is also a secondary lock here. And the knife is priced at about 100 pixels. Then its overall workmanship is very worthy of its price. It is a divine knife in the hearts of many of our knife friends. Then this knife only has a rear quick opening, and then the feel is very good. But what is the problem with this knife? You can see that the overall shape of this knife is very smooth. But you see that his back clip is very jumpy. And using one of this and this side is not at all such an aspect of the same polishing. It will make people feel that this background is particularly abrupt, and his shape, and his surface treatment, it is very confusing to be here. I don't know what I'm doing. Taken together, we can give him a person. And the second one is this crescent moon of this lightning planet. I have shared this before, so I won't say more. It is a G10 Pi, then a second steel. Its workmanship is also worthy of its price of more than 100. It has a 3-opening and each opening and closing performance is good. But his problem was that the lock was too thin. This caused his knife to fall apart. This can only give one NPC. Then let's talk about this knife. This is a Mona Risen Arowana. This knife is more controversial on the internet. What is the problem with various sample controls? I just said that there was nothing wrong with the knife in my hand. And it's in my hands, I think. It is a particularly good EDC knife. It's 3 openings. Every opening and closing is very smooth and full of power. I bought a second-hand one for more than 400 yuan, an M390 cutter head, and then serve with a full titanium cake. He also makes this kind of pseudo-cake design. And I think its blade is a little less shapely. This can be given to a top level. And then there's this one. This is a side strip bought on Taobao, which is also said to be a side strip of the Caxiu brand. I don't remember the specific model of the claw knife. This knife as a whole is priced at less than 100 yuan, so there is no problem with playing. Then it is a PI material as a whole. A talent shape of the waist C28N. Size. I think it makes sense. But this knife is just like that. Don't expect too much from him. Including this back clip design is very out of place. This synthesis is given to NPCs. And then this one. This is a state that came out of Lao Jio's early years. It is a titanium cake, and it has a titanium backbone. I also gave it a G10 backbone, and I replaced it with a G10 backbone. I think it will look a little better. The front blade is M390. Then I also did this very much polishing. This is an imitation of American design. Let's talk about its problems first. It is this river. There is only one way to open and close, and it is very difficult. It is strongly not recommended to buy for novices. It is very unfriendly. Even if I play for many days, I can only use this opening and closing mode to open and close, but the coolness of opening and closing this knife is still there. It is you who master every opening and closing. He has a relatively strong feedback. So to sum up, give an NPC. The next thing I will show you is the Beishan material sword. This is a knife that I particularly like. The whole made a Japanese-style lethal blade shape. There is also this kind of knife reversal. Then this 3-box simulation was also used in front. This kind of Japanese style with earth firing this kind of pattern. G10 Pi, then with this steel titanium plated lining. The overall workmanship is very good. I originally wanted to give him a rammer on this knife, but he does have a problem. It's a big rope hole. This Japanese knife is actually generally not tied to a rope. That is, if you say it's for the sake of a big leash, you can make a separation of this kind and then cover this piece, then make it a little more integrated. So let's deduct a little bit of it comprehensively, and we can only give it a top. Originally, this knife could have been tamped. Next is a handful of this Chun Zipping 1005. This knife is also a relatively popular knife on the internet, and it is also a Japanese style. Brother, she personally prefers this kind of small fold in Japanese style. The overall shape is a bit like the week I just watched. Also used an M390 blade, and then do ties blackening. Including this back clip is also tie. Including the smoothness of his opening and closing. All the opening and closing feel are okay. And what about the price of this knife? Now there are about 3 or 4 second-hand cards. In fact, you can't pick too many questions. So on the whole, it can be given to a master. Okay, and then this TNB pin. This is also a knife that you may see more on the internet. The titanium cake, and then AM390 blade cake. This texture is done on the surface. Then there is this superconducting shield. Its overall opening box basically has a front quick opening. But this front quick opening is not easy to use. The push knife hole is very easy to use, and I made a fully wrapped backbone design. Then there was a color jump treatment on this backbone. This hidden scattering hole was made underneath, which was made of brass. Then above is this tetrap bone of G10. Overall, this knife is in your hand to work, and the opening and closing feel is very good. And I think the biggest highlight of this knife is his design. Not only including knives, but also all EDC toys. His tuning fork is the best I've ever played, not that kind of silly sound. It's the kind that you knock on and the whole room rings, you play twice. You are tired. His tuning fork when you are slowly opening the operation. The effect of its tuning fork is very weak, but when you open it hard, can also hear overtones. The overall sound control is very, very beautiful. So I gave it a ram on this knife. Then there is this one we have also made a video. Kubiai's 407 Birds Beak Blade. Then the material of the G10. It is also a treatment of this dead room color scheme plating blackening. I think this knife as a whole, compared to the Lightning Planet we talked about before, its workmanship is better, and then its price will be a little higher, including his feel of opening the river and his workmanship. This can be given to a person. Next is the exhibition of Beishan Mountain. This knife is a large Tengu carving in collaboration with Aizu. This should be regarded as a relatively high-end series among his products. This one is very beautifully done, and then including his treatment of this head, including this consistent polishing of his two-sided blade line, including the middle degree of his knife did not appear. It's a little bit of a problem with him in the past. This knife is very good. But what about this knife? If you are a collection, there is no problem at all. But if you buy it back to play, it may not be so fun to play. It is the surgery, only this one, although you can use a variety of front opening techniques to open it, but there is only this kind of pre-opening fast opening method, so it's just comprehensive. Give a top. And then there's this one. It is this handicraft that has been introduced before. Handmade this knife as a non-small fold. With this kind of opening and closing feedback, I think it's already very powerful. There is nothing wrong with this knife, its only problem is the price. I think a PEI Cake M390 cutter head. Then some processing was done. I think this thing sells for more than 900. The secondary market has a price of more than 1,000. I don't particularly understand. To be honest, it can be given to the master. Since we are talking about this, let's look at my other handful of this little one. This wanderer made this small pencil sharpener. This is called Tiger Running, and this can also be opened quickly. But this one is only priced at more than 200, so you're right. He is a titanium pie, an M390 talent. Although the design of this knife is much worse than that, but the price is also much worse, right? Although it is cheap, it is also a penny overall. Don't expect anything special too high from it. It is the blade of the titanium alloy cake M390 without lock, and cheap is just a few features. Overall, it can also be given to a master. This is a domestic Mingangfang advancer. Why is this knife? Some of this friend asked me to introduce some practical knives. This one is cheaper, more than 200 titanium alloy cakes. And what about his tenacity? He said yes. And what about this knife? If we follow the rules of today's flat knife, the score of this knife will be relatively low, because many of its designs are actually not conducive to our play. There is no steel lock, that is, Taiping is in direct contact with this steel blade. Every round of knife will feel very unpleasant. Let you play with it. The second problem is that he has 4 blades. Then the feeling of opening the box is very tiring. But people are all practical oriented. Including his Perfect America, it is also designed in this way for a price of more than 200. I think this is all in the past. This can be given to an NPC, but it can't be given. Then there is this 3-term 131 Japanese-style sword. The material of carbon fiber, then a tough material of 14C28N. This is a knife that I think is very, very good. First of all, the shape is good looking and it has this kind of Japanese sword reversal. The weight of the feeling in his hand is particularly suitable, and he only has one way to open the operation. It's this front quick opening, but his front fast opening is very smooth and full of power. I'll show you. But he has the same well-known problem as the 161 just mentioned. In this background, you see 2 wires passing through. I don't know why this designer did this to save costs. You said that this back clip is removable, but in fact, I removed it and it was over. The screw won't work. I used a lot of screwdrivers but couldn't twist them, and they had already been twisted. So this knife could have been the navigation I could give. This is this series of experiences that make you fascinated by the operation. Only one top can be given. Finally, there is this mulberry fish head. Their new fat sole this year. First of all, the texture in my hand is very good. I chose the lowest configuration. There is no money for spray yarn. The sandblasting treatment of the entire knife, including his back clip, was all sandblasted. Then add a 50 yuan primer screw. He is made of titanium alloy as a whole. Patch titanium lining. Then the cutting head of the M390 is equipped with a push button for alloy. The overall configuration is very sufficient, and the price is less than 10. It should be more than 800. Overall knife shapes are very online. The lower false blade and the lower main blade are both done. The treatment of this concave film. You have to do this kind of multi-stage grinding overall styling. Including its workmanship, the texture in the hand is very, very good. Then his inner lining was designed with a steel lock. It is also in line with the play of our Chinese players. Habit opening and closing, charging feeling smooth, all have it. So this knife, I don't think there is any problem with it overall. Okay, these are our 15 EDC jackknives. The final ranking from ramming to pulling. Playing EDC every day is like eating a little bit. What other content do I want to see? You can leave me a message in the comment area. See you next time. It's time for Dalong to play EDC.